Today, I want to encourage you to keep leveling up in your faith, to keep building the thing that God has called you to build, and to keep walking down the path that God has called you to walk. Now, sometimes it's not easy to do the things that God has called us to do. Sometimes it's painful, it's challenging, it requires a lot of healing work. It requires us to reach out for help. It requires us to rely on God. I know it can be painful and challenging when other people are trying to hold you back and keep you down when you are trying to elevate, but I want you to continue to elevate. I know it can be difficult not to shrink back into old versions of yourself, but remember who you are in Christ and that you died with Christ and you resurrected with Christ to do better things with your life than you have done before. God has called us all to be stewards of what we have been given. Even our spiritual abilities could be our only resource of what God has called us to use, but you know what? God's got you. Keep building, keep going down the path of righteousness. The narrow path is hard to keep on. The wide path is much easier to go on and to be accepted on and to be liked and to do all these things that the world wants you to do. But the narrow path is where you will find the most riches. The narrow path is where you will find wisdom and understanding and peace and truth and light and love and fellowship and see the fruits of God really manifest into your life. So don't give up just because it's hard. Don't give up just because it's challenging. Don't give up just because you are tired of pursuing the things that God has called you to pursue, but you haven't seen the fruit yet. It takes years for a fruit tree to develop and to bear fruit, and for you to eat that fruit, and for that fruit to be so ripe and juicy that it's just so satisfying. And God doesn't want you to have an unripe fruit to eat. He wants you to eat the ripe, sweet fruit of Him and His resources and His power and His Spirit and His manifestations in your life of the things that He has called you to bring to fruition. Like sometimes we think we have to do it all on our own, but that's not true. God has called us to rely on Him for our strength, our courage, our peace, and everything else will fall into place.